everybody just a minute to jump on. Hello, hello. Can everybody hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, for those of you who are live today. Beautiful sunset back there in the background we got going on here today.
We have the most updated technology.
Okay, we'll give everybody just a minute to jump on and then we will get started. I hope all of you are doing well today. Hello, Miss Sarah Johnson. Good to see you on live. I see India on here, and let's see, Sarah Walker, Bonnie, Vanessa, Callie, Robin. Hello from Texas. Hello. Oh, I wonder if it's still cold where you are, Robin. I seen all that snow Southern Texas got the other day. That was insane. Hey, Barbie. Good to see you. Hello from Florida. Hello, hello, hello. Well, y'all better be glad that my husband shoved me out here, because I have been reading a book every chance I got today. The new Onyx Storm book came out Tuesday, and I have been reading every chance I got today. So Sammy finally pushed me out here. He was like, go, go, go. So welcome everybody. Today we are going to be doing the On the Rocks bracelet. So this is our bead along for the month. For those of you who are new and have never done one of the bead along with us, I can't talk today, with us, what we do is we try now once a month to get together and hang out and work on a project together. So this month's was the On the Rocks bracelet. So if you paid attention to the website, or you paid attention to our blog, which is on the website, or you are in our Facebook group on Facebook, you know that I sent out a coupon code earlier in the month for you guys to grab this pattern for free. So if you ever want to do one of the bead alongs with us, make sure that you pay attention to the website around the first of the month, or you pay attention to the blog that's on the website, because I will post coupon codes. If it's going to be a pattern, I will post coupon codes so you guys can download those patterns for free. So I will go ahead while we're waiting on everyone and let you know that next month in February, we are going to be working on Viking knit. So for those of you who have never heard of Viking knit, it is a really, really fun wire weaving. And I know some of you just went, oh, nope, I'm done, not doing it. But I promise you, it's something that I do. Like, I'm okay with doing it, and y'all know I don't love wire. So I think that you are going to be happy when you work on this project. But it's weaving wire around a wooden dowel, and then we pull it through what's called a draw plate, and you can make it as skinny as you would like, or as big a tube as you would like. And it's just a beautiful way to make a necklace to go with something you want to wear, or a pair of earrings, or bracelet, or whatever. So I do have kits available for that on my website at offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. They are on pre-order right now. We will be shipping those out within the week, so that you guys will have yours for our bead along coming up in February. So it is 5:59. Let's go ahead and start talking about what you are going to need today. And again, thank you all who are joining me tonight for this class. So for the On the Rock bracelet, I got a lot of questions about the button. The button that I had on the original pattern was a Swarovski button. These used to be the best little buttons. I love these things. They had a hole in the back, like that right there. And so they were great because you could just weave into them and they became part of your project. They were the funnest little buttons to use. Unfortunately, we can no longer get these little babies. So any sort of button will work for your project. I'll show you. This is the On the Rocks Trio bracelet. So it is a 3-strand of the project with herringbone on each end. And this is a pattern for sale on my website. Can you use like a cup button? Yes, you can. Here is a daisy button that I've used with the shank on the back. You can use that. And I cannot believe I made a new sample yesterday with a magnetic closure, and I forgot to bring it out because I wore it yesterday. So I'm going to show you how to add the magnetic closure to your piece as well. Any type of clasp is going to work for your project. You're going to need 19 4mm bicones. 19 is if you are making a 7-inch bracelet. If you are going to need it bigger, then you will need more crystals. If you are going to do a smaller size bracelet, then of course you are going to need less crystals. You're going to need some 8/0 seed beads, some 11/0 seed beads, and some 15/0 seed beads. You're going to need all three. And me personally, it's just my preference, I like to use Toho 8/0s on the bottom. I like to use 11/0 and 15/0 Miyuki seed beads for the top. Again, just my preference, but you guys can use whatever you have in your stash or whatever you want to use. The pattern called for 4 yards of 8-pound fire line. Now, I wrote this pattern in 2015. We're working on 10 years ago, okay? This was when I was a hardcore Fireline user, which we broke up many years ago, me and Fireline. So at this point, I like to use my 1G for the project. You can use KO, you can use Dragon Thread, you can use your beloved Fireline, or you can also use Wildfire. Pretty much any thread that you have in your little arsenal will work for the project. I'm going to use a size 12 beading needle because I'm going to be doing size 15 seed beads, but it is completely up to you how what size needle that you are comfortable working with. So let's go ahead. I'm going to flip the camera around. If you get motion sickness, please look away for just a minute while I get the camera flipped around here. Okay. Hello to everybody who is joining in. Okay, I'm going to put that right there really quickly. It's been an eventful day today. Okay. So, I have my needle threaded with 2 yards of thread. You will have to add thread, and I will show you how to do that along the project. But you are going to have to add thread because we're going to be doing a base. About it. In this bracelet, you can see that I actually use white thread with these black seed beads. Now, again, remember, this was 10 years ago. This is when, you know, much more what's the word I'm looking for? Not as advanced Kelly did back in those days. And so I used white thread. You can't really see it on the front, but you can see it along that back side. So pay attention to the color thread that you are going to use. But we have to do our base with our size 8 seed beads. We're going to do the entire base. And then so much. Now, if you like making your bracelet, you can also make a ring to go with it. This is another video on the channel that I've got, and it's basically you're doing that herringbone base and then doing the top like we did here on the bracelet. So again, I did want to show you that trio bracelet because that one is a lot of fun to do as well as you start to play and work. So I have 2 yards of thread threaded onto my needle. And the first thing I'm going to do is pick up 2 of my size 8 seed beads. And I'm going to bring these down. And it's up to you. You can either leave yourself enough tail thread to go back and add a clasp, or you can leave a short. And once I do that, then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to pass down that first or that bead right next to where my thread is exiting. So I have my bead here, and then I'm coming down through this bead And then you can see how that's going to lay. So we want to go up through that very first bead again, so that once we get that pulled through, they will now lay side by side like we need them to, and they will lay really well. So now we are going to pick up 2 size 8 seed beads again, and we are going to take our needle and we are going to pass through the bead right next to where the thread is exiting. So my thread is exiting out here on the left, so I am going to come down through the bead here on the right. And now I'm going to pass up through the 2 beads here on the left. So if you're left-handed, you're just doing this backwards, that's completely fine. Like if you're doing it this way, that is completely fine. You flip it and work with the way that is going to be best for you, okay? So I'm going to pick up 2 8s. I'm going to take the needle, and this time when I take the needle down through the bead, I'm only going to go down through the top bead. I'm not going through that stack of 2. I'm only going to go through that top single bead, and I'm going to pull that thread through. So when I come after every stitch after this one, we are only going to come down 1, and then we're going to come up through 2 beads. So we're going to come up through the bead right next to the one we're coming out of and the bead right above it. That's what's called our step up. I love doing this with size 8s because it feels like it goes so quickly. So I have my 2 beads here. I'm going to pass down through the bead right next to where my thread is exiting. So I'm going down 1, and then I'm going up 2. So I'm going up through 1 and 2, just like that. Pick up 2. We go down 1. And then up 2. We pick up 2, we go down 1, and then we are going to go up through 2. All right, so this is what we have so far. And you are going to just continue until you have the length that you need for the whole thing, okay? So I'm going to grab one that I've already kind of got going here because I don't want to sit there and make you watch me do all of this herringbone. So once you get all of that taken care of, and you get your length, you should be exiting out of the last bead here on the end. Now, this base, dependent upon how quick of a beater you are, this base could take you anywhere from 30 minutes. This takes me about 30 minutes to do my base, all the way up to maybe 45 minutes or an hour. And again, it's just going to depend on how fast of a beater you are. But we're just doing that herringbone all the way up. And now this is where our size 11, missing half of this sound goes out. Okay, guys, I have no idea what could be happening with the sound, because some people are saying the sound is fine and some people are saying their sound is going in and out. So I honestly have no idea. The full video for this is on my YouTube channel. So if you are having a hard time with the live tonight, you can check out my YouTube channel because it has the full video. And you can, like Carolyn just said, Carolyn Holt said she jumped off and then got back on and it made a huge difference. So that you may want to try that as well if you're having sound issues. Hello, Melinda from Australia. Okay, So if you are following along in the pattern with me, basically our herringbone led us up to step 8, and now we are going to step 9. So I finished out my herringbone row that I've got going here, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to pass down through 3 beads. So one of the things that you need to make sure when you do the base here is that you will want to make sure and it's an even number of columns. So when I count them, I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like that. You'll count like each little set here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want this to be an even number of beads because that is going to help us to make sure all of our crystals will fit on here. So I'm coming out of the column and I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to go down through 3 beads of the column right there next to where my thread is exiting. Now this is going to seem really strange, but I promise you, once you see it, it'll make a lot more sense. So I've gone down through the 3, and then I'm going to come up through the 1 right next to where my thread is exiting. And once I do that, I'm going to pick up my 11, one single 11, and I'm going to pass down through the bead I just came out of just a minute ago. That was my 3rd bead, so my 1, 2, 3. I'm going to pass down through that bead and then 2 more beads. All right, so you can see there. And when I pull it through, that bead is now going to sit in centered just like that. Okay, so when you come out of that 3rd bead now, come up through the bead right next to where your thread is exiting. Pick up 1 11, pass down through 1, 2, and 3. So the bead right next to where your thread is exiting, and then through 2 more beads. So that again, we pop another 11 in there just like that. So as you work, you want to be careful, number 1, not to pull this thread super tight. You want to just pull it enough so that the beads pop into place. If you pull it super tight, what's going to happen is you're going to start to get a curve and it's not going to look good. All right, so you just want to make sure that you just pull it enough so that they pop into place. And every once in a while, you can kind of take it and just straighten it out and fix it if that is the case. So I've gone down through the 3. I'm going to come up right next to where my thread is exiting, and I'm going to go up through that 1 bead. I'm going to thread on 1 11, and then I'm going to pass down through 3 beads, just like that. So you can see there what we've got going so far. I'm going to do a couple more here so you can see again. So I'm going to go up through the bead there on the left. I'm going to pick up 1 11, and I'm going to pass down through 3 beads on the right. So 1, 2, and 3. So you kind of get a rhythm as you work, especially once you understand what you're doing at this point. It's very, you can just sit there and just do it and just not have to think too hard about it. You just want to be careful because as you work down, it's going to be easy to get your thread caught on these little 11s that we're adding. So you just want to be careful as you work down your piece and you're adding these 11s because we want to make sure that we are good to go. So as you work down this whole bracelet, adding your 11s, your piece is going to look similar to this. And I've done red on black so that you could really see how that is going to look down through your piece. And you can see my base is straight. It's not curved. And that's what you're going for. You're going for that straight base of your piece. So now, once you finish, I tell you what, before I do that, I'm going to do a couple more on this bracelet to use up a little bit more of my thread because I'm going to show you how to add thread because you are going to have to add thread. So let me add just a couple of more to this this bracelet real quick so I can show you how to do that. And if you have questions as we go through, just jump in and ask away. Like I said, the great thing about this is that you can really use just about any type brand bead. I have seen people do this with fire polish beads, although I've never had much luck using fire polish beads because mine tend to they tend to stick out at funky angles when I use fire polish beads. So that's why I kind of like to stick with my bicones. You can use a pearl. I've seen pearls that are done on here, and it's really, really pretty with pearls. So you really can play and use up some of the beads in your stash. Can you use Monty's? Yeah, sure. I mean, you would have to X them between the 11s, but yeah, don't know. Don't spill your beads. Oh, no, 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 no. Thanks for the tips on your last video. Are you talking about the peyote one I did this week with the 2-hole beads? Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so I'm down here enough now where I think I've got a small enough thread that I can show you. As you work and you start to use up your thread, I'm going to show you a really easy way that I like to add thread on this project. Now, you can use half-hitch knots, but I'm not a fan of half-hitch knots because anywhere you put in a half-hitch knot, you are going to see it, and I don't like to see that. You could take, if you wanted to, and weave this thread completely in and then weave a new thread in. But this is just how I am liking to do this specific project. So I'm going to take my new thread, I'm going to take my old thread, I'm going to put them side by side, and we're going to marry them together when we make just a normal knot here, just like that. But I'm going to separate these two threads, and I'm going to pull this down to meet where the thread is coming out of that bead. I'm going to do one more just basic little knot there with those two threads. So I have my working thread here, and I have my two little tail threads here. And I can use a size 10 needle. If you got a 10, I can grab these two and even them out. And you can do this one at a time. You don't have to do this like I do it, of course. You can, however, but I'm going to go ahead and thread both of those threads through that size 10. I'm going to pull that through. And then I'm going to take those two threads and I'm going to pass them down through the base. And I'm going to use up a good bit of that thread. And then I'm going to trim that thread off now so that I am left with my working thread. And my working thread tail and the old tail have been stitched all the way down through here. They've been tied and stitched, and you can't see, because these are size 8C beads, you can't see where that knot is. That knot has been pulled down into the tube itself. So that is just a way that I personally like to add the thread. But of course, add thread however you would like for the project. So now, let me show you how we are going to add those beautiful crystals to the top of our piece. So when I get down here to the end, and let me get my thread here, I've already added new thread. And I have my tail thread over here. And what I'm going to do at this point now is I added the last bead and I came down through my 2/8, the only 2/8 left here on the end. So when you start and you finish, you are going to have 2 little stacks of 8s on each side, just like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the needle now and I'm going to come up through the 2/8 here on this left side, and then I'm going to pass through the 11. So through the 2/8 and then that 11. So now I'm coming out of the last 11 that I added. So at this point, you're going to need your crystals and your size 15 seed beads. So again, I want these to kind of pop. So I'm going to use the matte nickel plated on this one so that it just kind of pops off so you can see it. Otherwise, I think I may rip it out and use black because I just like how that's going to look with it. But what you want to do is you're going to pick up your 4mm. Now, again, it can be a pearl, a bicone. Like I said, some people have used fire polish beads. If it fits and it'll work, use it. But I have my 4mm, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that needle and I'm going to pass through the 11 in the opposite direction that is coming out of the first 11. So here it's coming out to the right. So I'm going to take and I'm going to go through the 11 right above it, and I'm going to go from right to left. So I'm going to go this way. And then I'm going to pass my needle down through that 4mm, and I'm going to put my thumb on it and hold it in place as I pull that thread straight down the way it's coming out of that crystal. And then I'm going to pass through that 11 going from left to right so that it's coming out in the same position that it was when I started. And this is where you're going to kind of have to play with your counts a little bit. In the pattern, I believe I say to use 5 and let's see, yeah, 5 15s. And that has kind of been the sweet spot number for this project. But as you work, if you find that when you add 5 15s and you go through the 11 there, if they don't go around it nice and smooth like this, you may need to take away or add another 15 here. So instead of 5, you might need 6 or 4. But 5 has pretty much been the sweet spot for most projects that I've done of this. So I picked up 5 and went through the 11. Now I'm picking up 5 and coming through the 11 so that those beads, those seed beads, hug our 4mm. Now I'm going to take the needle and right from that 11 that I'm coming out of, I'm going to pass down through the 8 that is right below it. And then I'm going to continue on through until I get up to the next empty 8 up here. I don't want to come to this, 11, empty 11. I don't want to come to this 11 because what happens if you try to put these at every one, it's going to bunch up and it's not going to look good. So that's why we want to go to the next open one. And so we'll have one with a crystal between it and one with nothing. One with a crystal and one with nothing. So now I take the needle and I pass through that 11. Hey, Phyllis. Good to see you on here. I cannot wait to see if you're making one of these, what colors you're going to do. I always love seeing your colors. So this time my needle's coming out to the left. So I'm going to come to that next 11 and I'm going to go through it from left to right so that it looks just like this. I'm going to pass back down through the 4mm. And again, put your thumb on top of that 4mm. And when you pull the thread straight the way that it's coming out of the bead. So my thread here was coming out to the left, so I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go through that bead from right to left. And what that does, I know somebody is sitting next to their computer right now going, why is she doing that? And if you look right here, this is the reason why. By doing it the way that I just showed you, I have a thread on each side now of this size 11 seed bead, both at the top and the bottom. So what this does is this helps to keep the bead centered between those two 11s, so it doesn't go off to one side. And that is why we do it that way. So again, I'm going to pick up 5 15s. I'm going to pass through the 11 here at the top so that those 15s hug that 4 millimeter. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And pass through the 11 there. So you can see what that is going to look like as we continue to work. So now I'm going to hold it to the side so that you can kind of see it here. And I'm going to pass up through the 8s right at that 11. So I'm going through the 8s right there so that I can come up to the next open 11. Thank you, India. I am liking this one as well. The great thing about it, you really can play with the colors on this, and each one is going to look completely, what's the word I can use? They're just going to look so unique. And I tell you what I'm going to do, I want to show you how to fix this if you start putting on your 15s and you don't like them. So let's say I go, no, I'm not loving that. And I'm not loving I don't think I'll love all of this as the 15s. So here's how I'm going to fix this is if I've already come up here to the top. What I'm going to do, you can use a beading awl, you can use a needle or whatever you have, but I know that this was the side that I finished second, because remember I was coming out this way and I came up. So I'm going to grab a hold of the thread there, and then I'm going to put my finger on that crystal and I'm going to pull that thread so that now those 15s are off of that side. And then it's very easy now. I can grab a hold of the 15s here, and then very carefully, I'm going to slide that out as well so that now my 15s are gone from around that one. So if I make a mistake or I don't like how those 15s look, then that is how easy it is to take those 15s off and fix it. The biggest thing you just want to be careful of is if you're using a thread, like a nylon thread like I am with this, with the 1G, you have to be careful not to pierce the thread, because then that makes that very hard to deal with. So at this point, let's see. Let me read that comment again. Donna says, I made 3 of these beautiful bracelets last week, and I found that when I did my second, I did it in one pass and did not have the 8-0 look uneven. They stayed flat. Yep, you can definitely do that. You sure can. Okay, so I have 5 15s here. I'm going to try it, and I'm going to do 1 light colored and 1 dark color. And I think I'm going to like that much better. So it almost stays hidden, and I think I like it. We'll go with it. That's what we're just going to say. We're going to go with it. I mean, it's not like this thing takes me 12 hours. And I can't, remake, or just taking our 4mm bicone. My thread is coming out towards myself. So I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to come to that next open 11, and I'm going to pass through away from myself. I'm going to pass the needle back down through that 4mm bicone, put my finger there, and then I'm going to pass back through the 11 again. so that it centers that 4mm between those beads. And then it is 5 15s, and I'm going to pass through the open hole there above the crystal, and then 5 15s, and then I'm going to pass through that a little bit just like that. Oh, and I like it. Okay, somebody said, will you be having any classes? Let's see. Will you be having any classes there this year? Jean, are you talking about retreats? Or what do you mean classes? Okay, I like it. I'm sticking with it. We're going with it. So I'm going to put a couple of more crystals on here, and then I'm going to show you guys how to add your clasp, because it's really, really easy to add the clasp, and then you have a fun project to do. Retreats. Yes, Jean, I actually have all of my in-store retreats are already full this year. Because of the fact that the people who come the previous year always get the first shot at seats. So my in-store retreats are completely full. But now I have 2 digital retreats that are held in August. Right now, one of them is already full. The other one has, I think, 6 spots left in it that will open up the 1st of February. So more information will come out about that next week. So if you're on my email list, make sure to check out that. If not, it will also be on the website. So you can see there how to add our crystals and put on our 15s around them to give them a different look. And so again, I just wanted to show you, for those who came in a little late, I wanted to show you. So here's one that is black with some silver 15s around it. Here is another one that looks like that. Hey, Miss Betsy, see you on there from cold Georgia. And then let's see. And then here was the trio bracelet again that you could do. This is a pattern on my website for the trio one that looks like this with all those pretty colors. And you can also see there, that is the ring that you can do as well. And those are all videos on my YouTube channel. Now, when you do your clasp is really, really easy because you have 2 columns that you can use. So when you're using a button, no matter if you're using with the shank or like this one is, you can see how easy it is just to pick up 2 seed beads, the button, and 2 seed beads there. The biggest thing you have to play with when you're using a button is how many seed beads you are going to use to go around the opening of the button like that. And there is no magic formula, I am sorry to say. It is one of those things you have to keep picking up and putting through. Now, because this was a certain size button, I knew exactly how many seed beads I would need to put through on this one. So you just kind of have to play around. Now, that is showing how to put the button on is on the original video, and it is in the original pattern. But what I want to do today is I want to show you, if you don't want to use a button clasp, I want to show you how you can use a magnetic closure or a toggle clasp or whatever you want. And my goodness, my needle, there we go. I was going to say, I can't get that thing threaded. So let me grab me a magnetic closure here. Now, if you're going to use any type of clasp for this, as far as not a button, I suggest that you use wire protectors to attach with your clasp. If you've never used a wire protector, it is a horseshoe shaped piece that has 2 holes in it, just like that. And so how you use these, let me get that thread out of the way. My thread is coming out of one side here. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to grab some of my red seed beads here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up an 11. I'm going to go up through one side of the wire protector. And I'm going to pass down through the other side of the wire protector. Now, before I pull this all the way down to the base, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach the loop to the first part of my clasp. And I want it to pull and go up inside of that wire protector, just like that. And then I'm going to pick up another 11. And then I'm going to pass down through the 8 that's on this side, so that it is going to look just like this. Now at this point, what I would make sure to do is I'm going to reinforce this by passing back through the beads as many times as I can get through that wire protector. So I'm going to pass through, go through one side of the wire protector. Make sure you go through the loop of your clasp. If you don't, you're just going to see thread going across your project, and you are not going to be a happy camper once you actually tie it off and look. So see it, my thread should pull right into that little channel there. And so this time I went through 2 8s, and I'm going to pass through that 11 and then through the 2 8s on this side, and I'm just going to continue again to reinforce this as many times as I feel necessary, or I can get the needle through the wire protector. And this time I may pass through a few more beads, making sure my thread goes into that channel, and then I'll go up through this side. So I'm weaving at the same time that I am reinforcing my clasp. I'm weaving in that tail thread so that I can go ahead and almost tie the thread off, I guess, is the best way to tell you that I'm doing. I see Crystal Tremblay on here. Crystal, when you come to the retreat, I better see you wearing one of these. I know you told me you had got the stuff and that you hadn't made it yet, so I want to see you wearing it. But no pressure, no pressure. But whoever was asking me about the classes, I think it was Jean who was asking me, Jean Beverly. And mainly the reasons that I'm only doing retreats this year, Jean, is I had to have 2 bones fused in the bottom of my foot in September. And it has been, I have a year-long healing process that I have to deal with. And right now I am still on crutches. After all of these months, I am still on crutches, and I still have 3 months of physical therapy left before they will release me from physical therapy. So right now, my year is just honestly at a standstill as far as making plans to do things or going to teach classes, because I've had several bead stores reach out to me and a couple of societies who want me to come and teach. But right now, I can't really make any sort of other commitments just because of that fact that I'm still trying to get the foot healed. Oh, yes, it was not a fun surgery, and I can honestly say that if I had it to do over, I don't know that I would have that surgery. But it's done. What's done is done. Okay, let's see. Crystal, I'm making matching ones for me and my little ones. Oh my gosh, I love it. Love it, love it. India says also make sure you don't get the 8s twisted as you do the herringbone. Yes, very, very, very good tip. India. Very good tip. So now, once you have this clasp put on, I can go ahead and I can go all the way to the end of the bracelet, and I will have thread down here that I can then add the clasp on just this one. So it's really, really quick bracelet to make. It's a fun bracelet to make, and you really can have a great time with it, whether it is a single like these are here or a triple. They all look really good together, and they stack really, really well together. So if you wanted to make a couple in different colors, they stack super, super well together. And I get the most comments when I wear this bracelet. So if everybody will just look away just for a minute, I'm going to flip the camera again really quickly here. There we go. So, my friends, I am glad that you spent some time with me tonight. I hope you learned some tips and tricks for doing this bracelet. If you are on Facebook and you are in our Facebook group, I would love to see pictures of your finished pieces. Now, make sure if you are on our email list, you got an email this morning telling you about our bead along for next month. So, it is going to be a fun Viking knit bead along. India said she had bones removed from her hand. Oh, yes, that sounds painful. Very, very painful. Okay, my friends. Well, I hope that each of you have a wonderful rest of your night and a great weekend. And I hope I will see you back next month when we do our live for Viking knit. It is really fun, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. And that one is going to be a longer Zoom or a longer live here on YouTube because of the fact that I'm going to be weaving almost a complete piece. So that way I can then pull it through the draw plate and show you how to finish it. I cannot talk tonight. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye.